Hey guys, so some of you might remember that 2 weeks ago I posted a video of the Ducati Streetfighter V4s Dark Stealth with a Expel Stealth PPF wrap installed. I went around the bike a little bit, went over what I liked, what I didn't like. That day though, it was actually nighttime. I had to go under light poles for you to get a feel of the actual finish of the bike. So it wasn't ideal. One of you ended up asking me to do another video of the bike, going into more details about the wrap because he was thinking about getting his bike done as well. So I'm going to talk to you today about the wrap itself, the process of wrapping the bike, the outcome, certain flaws that I've noticed after 2 weeks of having the bike wrapped. And I'm going to give you close-up shots so we can see how it looks. So basically this bike took about 3 weeks to complete. I brought the bike to a wrap shop that specializes in luxury cars, exotics, and so on. They wrap cars non-stop. I never expected this bike to take 3 weeks to wrap. Neither did they. So I dropped the bike off. They ended up washing it, starting the process. It took 3 weeks from the first 3 weeks to the day, from start to finish. I've had this bike now for 2 weeks since they finished the job. If you are looking to get your bike wrapped, make sure that you do your research and you get someone who specializes in wrapping bikes. Wrapping cars and wrapping bikes are different. Cars have long surfaces, big panels, long curves. It's a lot easier to wrap than these super aggressive shapes, these super complex shapes, for example, the tank over here. So your wrap shop might be the best of the best at wrapping cars. If they've never done a bike before, you have to expect that there are going to be some flaws to the job. Just to say, this guy that wrapped the bike wraps cars all day long. This is the last bike he's going to wrap. He told me I'm not wrapping another bike. So every painted part on the bike was wrapped. The goal of the PPF for the Dark Stealth was to protect the paint. This is my daily bike. I ride this bike every single day. So I wanted to make sure that it looked clean and new for years to come. So we're going to go over from the front to the back. We're going to go over the PPF install, the parts that were wrapped, the parts that weren't wrapped, and also the little flaws that I've noticed over the past 2 weeks. So again, like I said, every painted part was covered, and the headlights as well. So the headlights were wrapped. There's not much to say about the headlights, to be honest, because wrapping headlights is wrapping headlights. The front guard, the front carbon guard was also wrapped. This was wrapped in multiple pieces. As you can see, there's a seam over here. When they use the pre-cuts, they use multiple pieces on, for example, the tank. Same thing over here. As you can see, there's a seam where the two parts join. This was actually pretty well done. My only issue is that after a couple of weeks, it started peeling a little bit. It started lifting. But Expel has a 10-year warranty, so if this continues, I'm going to contact them and see if we can have it rewrapped. As you can see over here, he tried to go over the edges to really protect the entire part, but this has lifted a little bit. The forks were also wrapped, but you can see that if you go close, you can see that this is a hand cut. It wasn't cut straight. But again, the majority of the fork is covered and protected. The front part was also wrapped. They used a pre-cut on this one. The unfortunate thing about the pre-cut is that it is pre-cut, and as you can see, it's not cut perfectly, so there are parts that are exposed. So this little part here is exposed. Same here on this side. But again, chances are of something flying up and hitting exactly here, I guess chances are really low. It might happen, but it is what it is. The majority of the part is covered, and I'm okay with it. The instrument cover was also wrapped. Every carbon part, I think he did a really good job. All of this is covered as well. The carbon wings are covered. These were not too difficult to do because they're flat surfaces, so he was able to do them fairly well. The only issue with this is if you look underneath, I don't know if you can actually see it. Sorry about that. You can see that some parts did lift, but it's underneath, so it really does not bother me. The goal was to have it protected. Going around the bike, so you can see over here, certain cuts had to be done by hand. And again, he wanted to go around the edges to really protect the entire thing. So certain cuts were done by hand, and as you can see over here, the cuts were not done straight, and they ended up lifting after 2 weeks. Same thing over here. It lifted up a little, just a little bit, and it did trap a little bit of dirt underneath, so that bothers me. But I mean, it is what it is. If I have to remove it and have it re-wrapped, I'll have that done. So the cover over here, so your paint has to be in good shape to be able to wrap properly, or to have the wrap adhere to the surface. And there was a little imperfection in the paint over here, factory imperfection. And as you can see, it caused the wrap to not adhere completely, which from afar you don't see at all, but when you come up close you do see it. But if your goal is to have your paint protected, it's doing its job. I don't know if you can see this. So again, like I said, he tried to go around the edges to really protect every single part. You can see that it's starting to peel from underneath. So to me, that's not much, because I'm just going to take a knife to it, just cut it off and call it a day. Also, certain parts that have complex shapes or complicated shapes, the PPF has to be stretched around to really cover the part properly. And if you stretch the PPF too much, it leaves stretch marks. As you can see over here, they're subtle, I guess. We can't really see them from afar. We can't see them at all from afar, but really when you get up close, you do notice them. The tank here was done in 3 parts, 3 pre-cut parts, the center part and the 2 sides. So after installing these 3 parts, they join together. Once the wrapper aligns them, you can see that there's a seam over here, and this is on both sides. You can see a seam over here that runs the entire length of the tank. This, to be honest, is inevitable if you're wrapping in multiple parts. There's going to be a seam. It is what it is. It doesn't really bother me. Certain other things, as you can see, there's another seam over here. So where the seam ends, he did a hand cut, and as you can see, it was not cut straight, and because of that, there's an exposed paint part over here, or a little exposed piece of the paint. Same thing over here. When he aligned the pieces, you can see that he didn't align properly, and there's an exposed part as well. As you can see over here, the carbon frame cover was really well done. As you can see over here, there's a little bubbling, a little peeling over here as well. The tail was actually pretty well done. I have nothing to say about this tail. He really did a good job. So wrapping a bike can be done. It can be done very well, but you have to have the skills to wrap the bike. And so he was able to do this tail with no flaws whatsoever. At least none that I've noticed. But these other parts, you can see the difficulty and Again, hand cuts that left paint exposed, hand cuts over here, hand cuts over here that did not cut everything off, little parts that are peeling. Frame cover well done. The bare parts, like the rear guard over here, was not wrapped because I'm going to put the full Acra system on it. And once I put that, I'm going to swap this out for the carbon one. And once the carbon one is installed, at that point, I will have it wrapped. One thing that I do like about the Stealth PPF is the finish. So when I got this bike was basically a matte black, just like this one here on the SP. After having it wrapped, it ended up being more of a satin finish. So I went to the Ducati dealer the other day to have the bike serviced, and a gentleman had just purchased a brand new V4s Dark Stealth. Came up to the parking lot, parked right next to his, and the moment I got off and I looked at them, you could see the difference. I was always a fan of Ducati's matte black, but this satin finish on the Expel Stealth, I mean, it just adds a little something. I really like it a lot. As you can see, there's this satin sheen to it. It looks good. It makes it stand out a lot. There aren't many, well, not many, I'd say no other Street Fighter looks like this one because of the wrap on it right now. It looks good. Not that the matte doesn't look good, it looks great, but this just makes it different. Another thing that I like about the wrap, so I had, on top of the PPF wrap, I had a ceramic coating done, which made the surface very slick, very slippery. So dirt, bugs, they don't stick anymore. I just need to put a little bit of soap and water, spray it off, and everything comes off and it looks clean. My bike's a little dirty because I've been riding it a lot and I haven't cleaned it in a couple of days. So I'll go ahead and clean it a little later, but it really does help in keeping the bike clean. One thing that I don't like about the PPF and the ceramic coating, or rather the ceramic coating, it makes the surface so slick that things do not stick to it. This tank pad, 2 days after getting the bike, I installed it, and as you can see, it just does not stick. I've tried everything short of applying double-sided tape, and it keeps coming up. So I'm actually really bothered by this. I think it looks bad. So I went to the local Cycle Gear and I talked to the guy about it, and he said, well, try this. I don't even know if it's going to work, but it's called sticker on decal application fluid. It's supposed to, I guess, reactivate your adhesive and help it stick to low stick surface or low energy surfaces. So we'll try it and see how it works. If it works, I'll let you know. If you guys have some suggestions on how I could get this to stick once and for all on that ceramic coating, please let me know, because I really am tired of seeing this. So all in all, if you're looking to get your bike wrapped, it's perfectly doable. You just have to find the right shop that'll do it. You have to find the shop that has experience with wrapping bikes. Now you have options though. If you're just looking to protect your paint like I wanted, you can go to any bike shop, any car shop, and they're gonna wrap your bike, no problem. But you're gonna see these imperfections, right? All these stretch marks, these parts that are peeling off, these hand cuts that are not perfect. You're gonna see this. But if you're okay with it and you're able to live with it, then your paint is going to be protected. That's what counts, right? You want to keep your bike looking good. If you're looking for a flawless showpiece that you're going to expose in a showroom, in your living room, or wherever, and you want it to look perfect, then make sure you get someone, a shop that does bikes. They have to know how to do bikes. You can be the best of the best at wrapping cars. Your results might be perfect every single time you wrap a car. That day you get a bike, it'll be a different story. Okay? So basically that's it. I'm going to keep riding it, see how the PPF holds up. Again, like I said, they have this 10-year warranty. So if it continues peeling, I'm going to end up calling them up to have it rewrapped. Nice sound back there. So I'm going to continue riding this and see how the film holds up. If it continues peeling, I'm gonna call on the warranty and have it rewrapped, and I'll go from there. But all in all, I'm satisfied. The bike's gonna look good for a long time. The paint's gonna look as new. If ever I'm tired of it, I just peel it off and I go back to my matte finish. But yeah, I have no complaints up until now, apart from these little imperfections that I told you about, and this tank pad not sticking. So just a little walk around before finishing this up. Oh, I'm going to start posting videos at the SP more often now, so stay tuned. You're going to see those coming soon. If you guys have any questions about the wrap, just let me know. I'm not a professional, but I'll answer what I can. And give me your feedback on it. Do you know places that do better wraps for the next one? But again, if you're looking at getting your bike wrapped, you can. It's possible. You just have to get the right shop that is willing to put in the time and the effort to do it properly. That being said, you guys have a good day.